So I wanted to add just a little bit today about etiquette for teachings. There are some guidelines. These are not strict guidelines. You will find different sets of guidelines at different centers. They all have their own approach to how to deal with this, but these are some fairly generic ones that we've put together for our Dharma College for our teachings. And so I wanted to go over those so you've got that background, and so when you go and sit in a teaching, you've got an idea of what is generally considered acceptable or not. So we begin, first of all, when we get to the shrine room, we leave our shoes outside. Now occasionally we'll make an exception for that depending on where it is. If there's not a good place to leave it outside during bad weather, then we'll leave the shoes inside, just inside the door. But generally speaking, we take our shoes off in the shrine room as a sign of respect. And the other thing is we do not wear hats. Okay, so whatever hat you have, you take that off and leave it outside as well, or take it in with you, but don't wear it. The next one is short skirts or other revealing garments are not considered appropriate, and so it's good to cover your legs up. If you have a scarf or something like that that you can put over your legs or your feet or your shoulders, something lightweight in the summertime, of course, when it's warm, would be good. You don't want a real heavy wool scarf or something that's too hot and you're uncomfortable. But generally speaking, you want to wear clothes that are comfortable, but also that cover you up. Then the third one are cell phones, pagers, and all of those kind of things. It's only courteous to remember to turn those off. Nothing more embarrassing than having one of those go off in the middle of a teaching. So you want to turn those off. And then when you also enter the shrine room, as a Buddhist practitioner, normally you're going to have a shrine set up within that room, which will include an image of the Buddha. Now it might be a statue, it might be a tanka, or multiple ones. And so we normally then would do 3 prostrations to the Buddha when you first enter. They can be full prostrations or half prostrations, whatever fits for you, and also depending on how much room there is to do this, because sometimes it's crowded and you don't really have room to do full prostrations. And you can even just bend over, bow over, and do it without actually doing a prostration if there's not enough room to do that. And then the next one is to make sure that you leave a path for the teacher and whoever else is with him. In some large teachings, he may have 2 or 3 other lamas assisting, but he needs a path, a clear path to get there. So if there's a path when you get there, you can't just set your things in the path, okay? It's there for a reason. So just make sure you keep it clear to allow them to get to the front and to the throne, is what we usually call their seat, whether it's just a chair or whether it's a formal throne of some sort. But make sure they have a clear path getting in and out. But it's also important because if there's an empowerment, that usually means the individuals are going to be getting up and going up to the lama and then returning to their seat, or in some cases going outside. And in order to be able to do that, again, you need a clear path to get to it and back from it. So just being conscious of that when you're there in that environment is important, and then helpful to everyone else to make sure that they have a good experience as part of this as well. And the next one is to use an appropriate posture for practice, which is normally sitting in a cross-legged position. It doesn't mean you have to have your feet on your thighs, but crossing your legs and sitting on a cushion or a pad or something like that is the normal position. You would probably need to bring your own pad and cushion. There are some places that have those, but a lot of places don't. So if you're going to be sitting on the floor, it's always good to bring one of those with you for sitting. But if that's not practical, of course you can sit on a chair. And if you're sitting on a chair, normally we would keep our feet flat on the floor. Depending on how much room there is, you might stretch them out a little bit or not. But just being considerate of other people is an important part of that. Number 7, do not sit with the legs outstretched toward the altar or Rinpoche. Okay, once in a while, if we're sitting cross-legged, our legs start to ache or they're getting uncomfortable and we want to straighten them out a little bit. And that's fine, but don't point them toward Rinpoche. Or if you do, if you have, again, a scarf or something like that that you can cover them with. It's considered very impolite in Tibetan culture to do that. And so you don't want to insult the Rinpoche by stretching your feet out toward them in that way without them being covered. So again, something to just keep in mind as a part of what you do, as well as the other people that are around. In a crowded environment, it can be a little difficult to have room to really stretch out as well. Number 8, don't lie down in the shrine room. Okay, this is not a place for taking a nap. So unless there are a few cases where I have been where they allowed sleeping in the shrine room overnight because of lack of other space, in which case it would be okay. But otherwise, during the teaching, it's not okay to lie down. Number 9, and this is one you see quite a bit, Dharma texts should not be put on the floor. So they should be on a small table or something like that. If you have one, you can bring it with you. They make little tables designed specifically for Dharma texts to be placed on. But if you don't have one of those, either getting another cushion or getting another book or something else that you can set it on so that it's raised up at least a little bit off of the floor. Symbolically, it's a way of showing respect for the text. And then the next one, which kind of goes along with that, we don't step over a text. Now, normally that wouldn't be your own, but probably somebody else's who had sat one down. And again, they can be very crowded in those environments. Trying to get around can be a little bit tricky. But if you need to step someplace where there is one, ask the person to move it. If they're not there, you can move it, step over, turn around, put it back. So just showing respect for the texts as well as the other individuals involved. And then, number 11, while waiting for the teachings or empowerments to begin, it's best to practice shamatha. Just sit in calm abiding. The shrine room is a shrine room. And so treat it as such. And when you get in there, meditate rather than striking up a conversation with people. If you want to talk to people, go outside and talk. Okay? It's okay to greet people quietly, but you don't want to have loud, boisterous conversations, which we sometimes do here. You want to take those conversations outside and settle yourself into more of a sacred sense of space so that you're prepared for the teachings. And then number 12, stand and bow towards Rinpoche with your hands in the prayer position at the heart when they enter the room and until they are seated. So when Rinpoche, the teacher, comes in, you stand up, put your hands together at the heart and bow over a little bit. And you face them. And so as they move by you, then you turn and you wait. They will normally do 3 prostrations and then sit down. Once they have sat down, then you do 3 additional prostrations. Remember, you did 3 when you entered the shrine room. Originally, you've been in there a while. Now you do 3 more, treating the teacher as the Buddha. You're viewing them as the Buddha. It's pure view. You're seeing them as if they are the Buddha. The Buddha is giving you the teachings. After all, they are the representative of the Buddha in this context. Okay? No matter how imperfect they might be otherwise, they are representing the Buddha, so we show respect in that way. Question?
I noticed the last time he was here, people were doing that, and he was like,
saying, yeah, the lamas will vary. One lama to another will vary, and there are those who will say, no, don't do that. I know Garchen Rinpoche, for example, a lot of time now he doesn't do that when he first enters the room. Everybody stands up, and that's fine. But other times when people are jumping up to bow to him when he comes into a room or something, he's always saying, no, sit down. Yeah. And so there are lamas that do that, and if they tell you to sit down, then sit down. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. They're the Buddha telling you to sit down.
I just noticed that he did that last time. I was wondering if you should stop
yeah.
Or if you keep going.
No, it's okay to sit down if they say to sit down at that point. And let's see. Okay, so then we do our 3 prostrations. Number 14, don't hug or hold hands or kiss the Rinpoche. I've seen that happen a few times, the people doing that. It's a kind of hands-off thing, okay? Now, if they do it to you, if they hug you, if they hold your hands, which they will do sometimes, that's okay. But you don't take the action. You receive the action from them. Number 15, at the end of the empowerment or teaching, it's customary to offer a kata, which this one's yellow, but traditionally they're white. They actually come in a variety of different colors. And it's kind of a scarf, and when you go up to them, this is a very long one, you just put it in your hands. And with your thumbs to kind of hold it in position, and then put your hands together as you go up, and then offer it to them. Now then what they will normally do is they will take it, put it around your neck, and they will touch foreheads with you, and then they may say a little blessing of some sort. Once that is done, then you step out of the way to allow the next person in line to do that as well. You don't want to stay there. You want to move away, because a lot of times there's a very long line of people waiting to do that. A lot of times some people don't bring them, or they forget to bring them with them. I always keep one in my car, so even if I've forgotten, I can run out and get it. It's always handy to have one of those available. Normally they will give them back to you. There are occasions when I have seen them take them and they don't give them back. Now they're not real expensive, but you don't want to try and grab it and get it back from them if they do take it. Question? You can get them some. There's a couple of places that have them locally. I think Godiva's, the Indian restaurant, may have them, but they're easy to get on the internet. A lot of the Dharma, almost all the Dharma places are going to have them, so you can get them there.
The other thing is, what you can say is that if for some reason you don't, you can ask somebody who has it after they've done it to borrow it.
Yeah, you can always borrow them. Just be sure that you give them back after you've borrowed them. That's important to do. Now the other thing is, it's also traditional at the end of a teaching to make a personal donation to the Lama. Now you've already made a donation, if you will, to pay, and that goes towards paying for the expenses. Now Dharma Kirti will always, even if it goes beyond our expenses, make some donation to the Lama. So this is a personal donation. It might be $5, $10, $20, whatever is you're comfortable with. And usually there will be little envelopes that you can put the money into rather than actually handing cash. Now when you take it up, you take it with the kata when you go up. Now there will either be another lama, an assistant there, who will take the envelopes with the money in them on behalf of the teacher, or you can set them, sometimes there's a table where you can set them on, not usually the altar, but whatever else that they have that they've been using for putting things on, and you can do that. It's good to put their name on it so they know who it's for. In some cases you may do, when you have a translator, it's also nice to make a donation to the translator. They don't make a whole lot of money doing this kind of thing, so it's nice to show them some respect with a small donation as well. But you usually do not give it directly to the Lama. That's the point that I'm trying to make here, is that you either give it to the assistant or lay it on the table there. So keep that in mind as a part of the etiquette, if you will, for these teachings. We always have small envelopes for doing that. Okay, and then the final one, number 17, follow through on any commitments or vows made during the empowerment or teaching. Now, not all lamas will ask you to make a specific commitment or vow for teachings, but some will. And so there are different ways of taking empowerments. One of the ways is just as a blessing. If you're just taking it as a blessing, you're not making a commitment to do the practice or repeat the mantra a certain number of times or anything like that. And some lamas they want you to receive the blessing, and if you do the practice, that's great. If you don't do the practice, that's fine as well. They don't give a specific commitment for you in terms of a number of mantras to do or the number of times you do the practice or that kind of thing. But others will. And Khenchen Lama, for example, our spiritual director, oftentimes will ask people to do 10,000 repetitions of a mantra associated with a particular empowerment that he gives. And sometimes if you've had one particular one, then he will make exceptions. And so if you've had, say, Rigpa Guru Yoga, which is one of the ones he often makes exceptions for, and the vow for that one is continuing to do that practice at least 5 minutes a day. The way that he does it, at least. And so as long as you're continuing to do that, then he doesn't ask that you do another commitment of some of these other ones, that other empowerments that he may be asking people to do 10,000. But it's always good to do them as a practice, to become familiar with the practice, to show your sense of commitment to what is being done, and the sense of accomplishment that you get out of having done that. 10,000 is not a whole lot. And if you're doing like one mala a day, 100 a day, that's 3,000 in a month, so a period of 3 months or so, it's easy to accomplish that. Or you may do more than that. I know people who, particularly if the mantra's a little bit shorter, will do 1,000 a day, 10 days, and you're done. So you can do less on weekdays if you're working and you don't have as much time, then do a little bit more on weekends. So there's different ways of doing it to accomplish it, but I encourage you to keep those commitments that you do make as a part of doing these practices. And if you have questions, ask. You can ask me or other people that are there. They can also be helpful, whether it's a question about etiquette or about doing practice. Sometimes when they do empowerments, they don't actually give you a sadhana to practice. And so you either have to find one to do, or they may just have you do the visualization from what you got out of the teaching and recite the mantra. I've seen that as well. We always try in our teachings to make sure that we give you a copy of the mantra so that you can remember it and have to use as a part of your practice. But there are other ways of getting it. The point is, if you have questions or there's something you want or need, ask about that. Sometimes if we don't have a sadhana for a particular practice and it's not too long, we do have a very good translator in our Sangha, and so sometimes he will do translations of sadhanas for us to use, and so then we can get those and use those for our practice as well.
The last one he did was remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
He did,
Yeah, he's...
I was saying the last one he did, when Bashir was here, that Jim did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is astonishing.
Yeah.
And then when he did the additional part too, because I can't believe we're so fortunate to have somebody to do that.
He's very, very good. Like other translators, he has his favorite words that he uses, and so. But that's But he is very good. He speaks English.
He speaks English.
So yeah, there's no translator necessary for this one. Okay, thank you. Very good.